Monica's fingers trembled as they clutched the small piece of metal in her hand. She could feel the weight of it, cool and firm, a house key. But not just any house key. The cloth was still tied over her eyes, and her heart pounded against her chest. She could hear their voice giggling, whispering to Obinna to get ready. Then one of them, the voice of Maya, she was sure, leaned in and whispered, "Mama, are you ready?" Before Monica could answer, the blindfold was gently untied. She blinked and froze. Before her stood a massive white-painted mansion, so bright and grand it looked like something from a movie. The gates were gold-trimmed, the walls smooth like porcelain, and tall windows sparkled like diamonds in the afternoon sun. On the ground, beneath her feet, were flower petals, red and white, leading up to the front door. Her knees buckled. She clutched her chest. Tears burst from her eyes before her lips could even form words. And then, all three girls, now grown women, doctors, dressed in matching elegant gowns, wrapped their arms around her. Obinna stood beside them, tall and proud in his suit. "This is for you, Mama," Mara whispered. "We built it together. You gave us everything when you had nothing." But as Monica tried to catch her breath, her mind pulled her back to the day she first saw them, back to the moment she chose to give away her only meal to three starving strangers. Build up, one woman, one son, and a promise. It had been 5 years since Monica's world turned upside down. Her husband, Uche, had been a hard-working taxi driver in Lagos. One rainy evening, while trying to avoid a speeding trailer on the highway, he lost control. The call came late that night. Uche never made it home. Monica didn't cry for long. Not because she didn't love him, she loved him more than life itself, but because she knew tears wouldn't pay rent or buy food for their only son, Obinna, who was just 5 then. With no family support, Monica became everything: mother, father, breadwinner, protector. She began selling vegetables at the roadside: tomatoes, peppers, onions. On good days, she made enough to buy rice and pay Obinna's school fees. On bad days, they shared Gary and hoped for better tomorrow. Monica vowed one thing: Obinna would never feel the kind of hunger she had felt growing up. He would get the best education she could afford, and she would never remarry. "No man will ever come between me and my child," she always said. But what stood out most about Monica wasn't her strength. It was her heart. Even when she didn't have much, she always kept a little something for others. Children from the street would come by her stall, and she'd find a way to feed them. Once, she gave away all her fruits to a blind beggar who had fainted by the roadside. "Kindness is the one thing no one can steal from you," she always told Obinna. Pacing, the day she met them. It was a Saturday. The sun was already setting when Monica finished her market rounds. She had sold just enough to buy 4 plates of jollof rice in takeaway container sewn for herself, 1 for Obinna, and maybe 2 for the next day. But as she walked past the old abandoned building on Oberländer Street, a place everyone avoided, she heard sobbing. Curious, and with a heart too soft to ignore pain, Monica paused. There they were, 3 young girls sitting in the dirt, their backs against the crumbling wall of the building. Their faces were thin, their hair scattered and tangled, and their clothes, 3 similar worn-out gowns, were stained with mud. They looked up at her at the same time, as if they were one body with 3 souls. "Please," one of them whispered. "We're hungry. We haven't eaten in 2 days." Monica's heart clenched. She knelt slowly, her knees pressing into the sandy earth. "Where are your parents?" she asked gently. "Our father died 2 years ago," said the one with the tiny scar under her left eye. "Our mother left us 1 month ago. She said she was coming back, but she never did." Monica blinked, unable to stop the tears. The girls looked about 14, and they spoke with such sorrow it pierced her heart. Her eyes moved to the bag in her hand. 4 plates. She pulled them out, opened the containers, and placed one in front of each girl. The 4th one she left unopened. "Eat," she said, smiling softly. "You need it more than I do." The girls didn't waste time. Their fingers moved quickly, scooping rice, chewing, swallowing, like it might disappear. When they finished, one of them, Mimi, the tallest, looked up and asked, "Auntie, can we stay with you? Please, we'll help you. We'll do anything." There was no hesitation in Monica's heart. She stood up and said, "Let's go. You are not alone anymore." When they reached her small, two-room apartment, Obinna jumped up from his homework. "Mama, who are they?" Monica smiled and said, "These are your new sisters." Obinna blinked. "Sisters?" "Yes," Monica replied. "Their names are Mimi, Mara, and Maya." The triplets smiled shyly. Monica noticed how Obinna's eyes lit up. He'd never had siblings before. That night, the five of them shared one pot of beans. The girls slept on a mattress on the floor beside Obinna's small bed. Monica watched them from the corner of the room as they drifted off to sleep. She held her Bible close and whispered a prayer. "God, I don't have much, but I will give them everything I have." As she turned off the lantern and lay down, a faint knock echoed from the door. 3 slow knocks. Monica's heart stopped. It was 11:30 p.m. She wasn't expecting anyone. She stood up slowly. "Who is there?" she whispered. No response. She took a step forward, heart pounding like a drum. She reached for the door. The knock came again. Soft, slow, 3 deliberate taps. Monica paused just inches from the door, her palm flat against the wood. Her mind raced. Could it be a neighbor? Or worse, someone dangerous? She glanced back at the children. All 4, Obinna, Mimi, Mara, and Maya, were asleep on the floor, their tiny chests rising and falling softly. With a trembling hand, Monica reached for the latch and gently pulled it open. There was no one, only darkness, only silence. But then on the ground a black nylon bag. Cautiously, she picked it up and closed the door. Under the dim lantern light, she opened it slowly. Inside were 2 loaves of bread, a tin of milk, 5 sachets of pure water, and a folded note. Her fingers shook as she unfolded the paper. It read, "Your kindness has been seen. Keep going." There was no name, no clue. Monica stared at the bag for a long time. A part of her wanted to run outside and search, but something deep in her soul whispered it was a sign, a quiet reassurance that God had seen her heart, and she was not alone. The following days were a whirlwind. Feeding 5 people daily with barely enough was a miracle on its own. Monica had to stretch every naira. She woke at 4:30 a.m., walked to the local market, bought vegetables in bulk, and spent hours slicing and packaging. The triplets helped with everything. Mimi fetched water. Mara helped Obinna prepare for school. Maya swept and cleaned the house before Monica returned. They were like clockwork, efficient and always smiling. "Why are you always smiling?" Monica once asked them. Mimi had replied, "Because we're not hungry anymore." And that was all it took to break Monica into tears again. The community took notice too. Her neighbors who once laughed at her for always helping street kids began to admire her. Some offered small support. A few came to buy vegetables just to help. But what changed Monica's life completely was a simple idea from Maya. One sunny afternoon, while helping Monica sell tomatoes at her stall, Maya tugged at her wrapper. "Auntie Monica," she said softly, "what if we sell cooked food instead of just vegetables?" Monica turned to her, surprised. "Cooked food? Like rice and stew?" Maya nodded eagerly. "People at the market are always hungry. We could sell small platsjol of rice. Moi moi. Fried plantain." Monica hesitated. She had never run a food business before. What if it failed? But Maya added, "We will help you. We can wash plates, serve customers, greet them. You'll see they will love it." That night, Monica couldn't sleep. She stared at the ceiling as Maya's words echoed in her mind. By morning, the decision was made. They sold most of the vegetables to raise money. Monica borrowed an old kerosene stove from a neighbor, bought one small table, and printed a handwritten sign, "Mama Monica's Meals." It began with just 10 plates of food, and by noon, every plate was gone. High moment, the triplets become local celebrities. The girls became the face of the small food business. Every morning, dressed in matching second-hand gowns, they lined up by the table, calling out to customers, "Good morning, sir. Come and try our sweet jollof." "Madam, we have hot moi moi today." People couldn't tell who was who. They were so identical, some customers thought Monica had trained robots. Their warm smiles, playful energy, and unity became the talk of the market. People came not just to eat, but to see the triplets. "I'll take 2 plates and 1 smile from each of you," a customer joked once, making them all laugh. Even petty traders from other stalls sent their apprentices to buy from Mama Monica. From 10 plates a day, they moved to 20, then 50. Obina designed a small hand-painted banner that read, "Taste of Love" by Mama Monica, her angels. People took pictures. Some shared on Facebook and TikTok. The small stall had become a local sensation, but not everyone was happy. One evening, as they were packing up, the landlord came. His name was Baba Tunde, a round man with thick glasses and a walking stick. "Monica," he barked. "Come outside." She stepped out nervously. The triplets stood behind her, peeking. "What is this I'm hearing?" he shouted. "You turned your home into a food joint? Did I approve it?" Monica tried to explain. "Baba, it's just small food. For survival. For the children." He raised his hand. "Don't Baba me. If you want to run a business, go rent a shop." She bit her lips. Her heart pounded. A shop? She didn't have that kind of money. "From next week," he said coldly, "I'm increasing your rent, and if you don't pay, pack out." The triplets stood frozen. So did Obina. Tears stung Monica's eyes, but she refused to break in front of them. That night, she couldn't eat. She just sat in silence as the children cleaned up and tiptoed around her. 3 days later, while Monica was preparing stew outside the compound, a woman walked into the yard. She was tall, with neatly braided hair, wearing a crisp corporate outfit. She looked directly at Monica. "You're the one feeding those girls, aren't you?" Monica stood up slowly. Yes. Who are you?" The woman stepped forward, her face unreadable. "I'm their mother." The wooden spoon slipped from Monica's hand. "You're... what?" The woman crossed her arms. "They told me they were staying with some poor woman. I came to take them back." Mimi, Mara, and Maya had just returned from school. When they saw her, they froze. Their faces drained of color. "Mama," Maya whispered. Monica looked from them to the woman. Everything inside her twisted. She had feared this day would come, but she never expected it like this. The woman raised her voice. "Pack your bags, girls. I'm your mother. We're leaving." Monica stepped in front of them. "They are not going anywhere." The woman's eyes narrowed. "Who are you to stop me?" Monica's jaw tightened. "I'm the woman who fed them when you didn't. Now tell me, where have you been?" Silence fell over the compound like a storm cloud. Monica stood between the triplets and the woman who claimed to be their mother. Her heart pounded, but her voice was steady. "I asked you," Monica said again, eyes fixed on the stranger. "Where have you been for the past 1 month?" The woman's face twitched. "That's none of your business." "Then you have no right," Monica replied, "to show up now and drag them away like forgotten luggage." The triplets huddled behind Monica, confused and afraid. Their hands were clenched tightly together, just like the first day she met them. Obina appeared at the door, watching everything unfold, fists clenched, jaw tight. The woman took a bold step forward. "I carried them in my womb. I gave them life. Who are you?" Monica's eyes welled with emotion, but she didn't blink. "I'm the one who gave them love, when you gave up on them." The woman's name was Stella. As the triplets stood silently, she finally spoke, voice cracking. "My husband died 2 years ago. After that, everything fell apart. I couldn't feed them. I begged. I knocked on doors. Nobody helped." She turned her eyes to the ground. "Then one day, I left to look for work in another state. I thought I'd come back with something, but I never did. I got sick. I was hospitalized. I lost my job. I lost everything." Mimi stepped forward cautiously. "But why didn't you come back? Not even once?" Tears rolled down Stella's cheeks. "I thought I had failed as a mother. I didn't think you'd still want me." The triplets stood frozen, hearts torn. And Monica? She didn't know what to say. She had raised these girls like her own. But this was their mother. And no matter how much pain she caused, blood still ran deep. That evening, Monica cooked without speaking. The triplets sat in a corner of the room, whispering among themselves. Obinna sat beside his mother, peeling vegetables, trying to hide his worry. "Mama," he whispered, "are they going to leave us?" Monica didn't respond at first. Then softly, she said, "They're not mine, Obinna. I have no right to keep them." Obinna turned to her, his face serious for a 10-year-old. "But you loved them. That's what makes them yours." That night, Monica sat on her bed and cried into her pillow, silently, so no one would hear. The next day, Stella returned with 2 men. One wore a suit and carried documents. The other was a uniformed officer. "Madam," the man in the suit said to Monica, "Miss Stella has requested full custody of her daughters. She says you took them without legal approval." The triplets gasped. "You're taking us like we're goods in a bag?" Mara shouted, stepping forward. "We're not going anywhere," Maya added. But Stella smirked. "You're minors. You don't get to choose." Monica's lips trembled. "Sir, I didn't kidnap them. They came to me starving. Homeless. I gave them a home." "Do you have legal guardianship papers?" he asked. Monica was silent. He sighed. "Then we may need to take them back. For now, until proper investigations." A voice interrupted him. "Wait!" A crowd had gathered outside. Madam Keiji, the tailor next door, marched forward with folded arms. "We saw how she took care of those girls. Monica fed them, loved them, clothed them with what little she had." Others joined in. "That woman abandoned her children. She only came back when they started looking healthy. This is wickedness." Someone pulled out a phone. "We'll record everything and put it online. Let Nigerians judge." The officer turned uneasy. The man in the suit sighed. "Let's handle this at the Child Welfare Office." That week, the story went viral. Poor woman raises abandoned triplets. Now their mother wants them back. Monica's small restaurant was flooded with supporters. People brought food, money, clothing. A lawyer volunteered to represent her for free. TV stations came to interview her. The triplets spoke gently but firmly about Monica being the only mother they'd known. Mimi said on live TV, "If loving us makes her guilty, then let the world judge her. But she's the only reason we're still alive." The court date was set. The triplets would speak, and so would Monica. On the day of the hearing, the courtroom was packed. Monica wore a plain wrapper and blouse. Her hands shook as she held the edge of her Bible. Stella came with a new lawyer and wore a polished dress. The triplets were called to testify. The judge asked them the final question. "If given the choice, who would you rather live with?" The room went silent. All 3 girls stood and said in one voice, "Mama Monica." Gasps filled the room. Stella stood up. "They're children. They don't know what's best." The judge banged the gavel. "Order in court." He turned to Monica. "Madam, do you love these girls enough to raise them until they are of age?" Monica nodded, her voice shaking. "With every breath I have left." The judge looked around the room, then leaned forward. But just before he gave his verdict, a woman burst into the courtroom. She was sweating, breathless. "I'm sorry, I need to speak. Please. It's about those girls." Everyone turned to look at her. "Who are you?" the judge asked. She looked at Monica, and then at Stella. "I'm their aunt." The entire courtroom froze. The judge, now leaning forward, adjusted his glasses. "You're their aunt?" The woman nodded, still gasping for breath. "Yes. My name is Esther. I'm Stella's younger sister. I came as fast as I could." Stella's face drained of color. "Esther, what are you doing here?" Esther didn't even look at her. Instead, she faced the judge. "I need to tell the truth, Your Honor. I can't keep silent anymore." The judge motioned for her to step forward. "You have 5 minutes." Esther's voice trembled as she turned to Monica, then to the girls Mimi, Mara, and Maya. She took a deep breath and said, 2 years ago, when their father died, I begged Stella not to give up. I offered to take the girls in, but she refused. She blamed them for everything. Stella jumped to her feet. That's a lie. Silence, the judge commanded. Esther continued. One day, I went to visit them. The girls weren't home. I found out Stella had left them in front of an abandoned house and moved to another city. She told people they were a burden. The courtroom gasped. Tears streamed down Mara's face. Mimi reached for Maya's hand and held it tightly. Esther looked at Monica. She left them to die, but this woman, this stranger, saved them. The judge sat back in his chair and exhaled deeply. There was no more doubt. After a short recess, the judge returned and delivered his verdict. Given the testimony, the witnesses, and the consistent care provided by Mrs. Monica over the last year, this court grants her full guardianship of Mimi, Mara, and Maya until they turn 18. Furthermore, he turned sharply to Stella. This court will open a child neglect case against Ms. Stella. You abandoned your daughters. That has consequences. Stella collapsed onto her chair, defeated. The triplets rushed to Monica, embracing her tightly. Cheers filled the courtroom. But as they stepped outside, with press and neighbors congratulating them, Monica noticed Esther quietly slipping away. She followed her. Esther, Monica said, why did you help us? Esther turned, tears in her eyes. Because I've lived with the guilt for 2 years. I should have done more, but I was too afraid of my sister. She looked down. I just hope one day the girls can forgive me. Pacing. Dreams. Take root. The years that followed were filled with hard work, but also love. Monica expanded the restaurant. She named it Triplet Taste Kitchen, an idea from Obina. The girls helped every day after school. Customers now came from across Lagos just to see them serve food, their smiles lighting up every table. Obina got a scholarship to learn computer coding. He spent late nights teaching himself data analytics and eventually landed a remote job with a foreign company. The family worked together, laughed together, prayed together. When the triplets finished secondary school, they all applied to study medicine. Monica sold her gold wedding ring, the last thing she had from Ucheto, help with the forms and travel. But she didn't cry, because she knew Uche would have been proud. The day the girls were accepted into the university, Monica danced in the rain. Mimi said, Mama, you're getting wet. Monica laughed, arms wide open. Let it wash away the pain of yesterday. 6 years passed. Obina graduated first, becoming a certified data analyst. He built a small app that helped roadside businesses manage their sales. Then came the triplets. Their graduation ceremony was like a wedding. They wore white coats, stood proudly on stage as their names were called Dr. Mimi Okoye, Dr. Mara Okoye, Dr. Maya Okoye. Monica sat in the crowd, wearing a simple ankara with a fresh jewel, her hands clasped tightly over her chest. She couldn't stop smiling. As each girl walked across the stage, they turned, blew kisses to her, and shouted, "We love you, Mama!" The crowd cheered. A woman beside Monica leaned over and whispered, "Are those your daughters?" Monica wiped a tear. They weren't, but now they are. 2 years later, Monica was now 55. She had aged beautifully, her skin wrinkled from smiling too much, her walk slower but graceful. Her hair was always wrapped in her signature brown head tie, and even though she still wore simple ankara, her joy lit up every room. One Sunday afternoon, the girls and Obina showed up in a white SUV. "Mama, dress up. We're taking you somewhere," Mara said, beaming. Monica laughed. "Where are we going?" "You'll see," Maya said with a wink. They blindfolded her. She giggled the whole ride, asking 1,000 questions. They led her gently out of the car. "Careful, just a few more steps." "Ready?" Mimi whispered. "Yes. Remove this thing." Monica laughed. The blindfold came off, and there it was, a giant white mansion. fresh white paint, shiny glass windows, a silver gate with gold detail, flower beds lining the driveway, solar panels on the roof, and in her hand, a bunch of keys. Monica's hands flew to her mouth. Her knees buckled, but Abina caught her. The girls rushed in for a group hug, all four of them surrounding her like sunlight. "This is yours, Mama," Maya said. "We built it together." Tears poured down Monica's cheeks. "I don't deserve this." "But you gave us life," Obina said. "This is only a thank you." Monica sobbed. Her voice cracked. "My children. I was just a poor widow. I had nothing but love to give." "That was everything," Mimi whispered. 2 months later, Monica stood at the back of a church, holding the hands of the triplets, all three dressed in glowing white gowns. The wedding aisle was decorated with fresh petals, flowing white curtains, and hundreds of guests. A choir sang softly in the background. Monica was about to walk all three of them down the aisle. "I never imagined this day," she whispered. Mara smiled. "We did." Monica took a shaky breath. 1 step forward, 2, then 3. Suddenly, a man appeared near the church gate. He looked confused, holding something in his hand. He seemed out of place. The security team approached him. "Mr. This is a private wedding. What do you want?" He held up a paper and said, "I think one of these brides is my daughter." Monica turned sharply. The music stopped. Everyone stared. Obina stepped forward, narrowing his eyes. "Who are you?" The man looked at Monica, then at the girls, and said, "I'm their real father." The church fell silent. All eyes turned toward the man by the gate. He looked about 60, dark-skinned, frail but standing tall with determination. In his hand was a wrinkled birth certificate. His eyes locked with the triplets, his lips trembled. "I'm their biological father," he repeated. "I didn't die. I've been searching for them for years." Monica staggered slightly, her heart pounding. "But their mother said you died in an accident," she whispered, mostly to herself. The man, Mr. Edward Okoye, stepped forward slowly, still holding the paper. "I had an accident, yes. But I didn't die. I was in a coma for months. When I woke up, they told me Stella had moved away. I searched everywhere, but there was no trace of her or my girls." Mimi, Mara, and Maya stood frozen in their wedding gowns, eyes wide, tears threatening to spill. Mimi stepped forward. "Do you have proof?" He nodded, voice shaking. "DNA. I submitted a request when I saw your story online a year ago. I've watched your lives from a distance, unsure how to come forward. But today, I couldn't stay away." He handed the file to Obina, who quickly scanned the papers. Obina looked up, stunned. "It's real. Everything checks out." The triplets walked slowly to him. Maya touched his arm. "Where were you all these years?" "I tried," he choked out. "But I failed. And I'm sorry. I don't expect anything. I just wanted to see you happy." Monica wiped a tear and walked forward, placing a gentle hand on his shoulder. "You gave them life. But God gave me the chance to raise them. There's no competition here." The church erupted in soft applause. Mr. Okoye wept. "Thank you for everything you did. I thought I lost my girls forever, but you gave them a future." The triplets embraced him first, Mimi, then Mara, then Maya. Then they turned back to Monica, took her hands, and said together, "You'll always be our mother." Tears ran freely down Monica's cheeks. The music resumed, and side by side with Monica on one side and their father Edward on the other, the triplets walked down the aisle, arm in arm. Mimi married Joshua. Mara married Emeka. Maya married Maxwell. Months later, each gave birth to a healthy baby boy. Monica held all three in her arms one sunny afternoon and whispered with a smile, "You were my miracle. And now, you've given me 3 more." From poverty to purpose, from pain to power, Monica's story became a lesson across Nigeria. Kindness always comes home. If you like this story, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel for more interesting stories.